Hey, good morning, world. If you haven't read the description yet, I will tell you that this could be a long live video session. I don't know. What I am going to do is recount a very recent woo-woo experience that I had that began on Sunday. And actually, now I think it actually started sooner than that, earlier than that. I'm doing this to work through the experience and I want to capture it. I want to capture it in my own words as I recalled how things happened and as the pieces were falling together for me. So I'm perfectly fine if you click right off of this and don't hang around for the whole thing. As I said, I have no idea how long it will be to recount this story, to process through what I learned. The reason I chose to do this live rather than writing it down or just doing a video for myself or even recording it live, but only for my viewing purposes, I wanted to keep myself honest. I wanted to know that I couldn't just hit the end live video button and just call it good. I couldn't just edit out where I bobbled, where I misspoke, where I put things in the wrong order, because this potentially could be a confusing mess today. Fair warning. And I see someone join me. Hey, Mary, hang around for as long as you're interested and then feel free to leave whenever you are tired of my rambling. It could be kind of a mismatch of things. What I realized before I started this live, when I said it was a recent experience that happened within the past day or so, it actually started before this, I think. Last Tuesday, so recorded Friday or Saturday before that, or Wednesday or Thursday before that, so maybe even a couple of weeks ago, I was thinking about how sometimes we ask the universe for specific things, and then we fail to watch or listen or look for the answer. So that was my podcast episode 78, I believe. And the title of it was Dear Universe. So if you're interested in listening to that episode, you can go to my website, donnadoyon.com/078, and you can listen to an episode where I talk about how sometimes the universe is answering us, giving us signs, and we just don't pay attention to them until sometimes the universe just comes up and just, gives us a big shove or just kind of knocks us on the head and says, listen, you asked for something. Listen, I'm telling you the answer. So it kind of started then. This past Sunday, 2 days ago, I went to a workshop by Barbara Fay, who is a spirit medium. She teaches, most months, she teaches these incredible workshops for how to become more aligned and in tune with your intuitive self. This Sunday's workshop was called Work with Your Guides, How to Connect and Gain Faith. So there were 4 of us, 4 women participants in this workshop. And she began by taking us on a guided meditation. And the first one was to a room that we were setting up to practice this one word answer from our guides. So the meditation, to set it up, it starts, you're in a field, you look at your feet. If you're wearing shoes, take your shoes off. And then you're walking across this field. And then you're going up and down, up and down, up and down 10 hills. And then you're on the top of the 10th hill and you look down, and at the bottom of the hill, you see a door. So then you walk down, you open the door, and there's a room. There's a table and there's a chair. And you set up the room with your sacred items. You decorate it the way you want so that it's your comfortable space. And then we leave. We close the door, we go back up the hills, go up and down the hills. We go back across the field, we look at our feet, we put our shoes back on, and we go on our merry way. The second time we do this, we look at our feet, take off our shoes if we're wearing them, cross the field, up and down, up and down, up and down the hills. We go back to the door, we open it, we walk into the room, and we sit down. And there is a box, and the box has a word on top of it. and inside the box are some tiles. So I didn't even make this connection, and it was only as I was preparing for this recording that I realized that they would be like Scrabble tiles. Because Barbara used the word tiles, but if she said Scrabble, I didn't hear it, because what we were doing was we were going to ask our guides a question, and then the answers would be spelled out with these tiles. So I had my box, and the word on top of it was dominoes. And all I could envision was this box of dominoes that we used to have. It was a really good solid set. The dominoes themselves were kind of like a white ivory color, not like ivory tusks, but ivory colored plastic tiles. It was a beautiful set. And the box was, it was stiff, but it was kind of a soft plasticky, like a cushioned padding on the box. So that was the box that I envisioned, and it said dominoes on it. But then when I pulled out the tiles and set them out on the table face down, and then I asked my guide a question. So me still 75 to 80%, maybe 55 to 60% believing that this stuff is real. Ask the simple question, do I have a guide? Real basic, not something big and flowy. Am I destined for greatness? Will I make $1 million? Will I have, turkey for lunch tomorrow? It was, do I have a guide? And I flipped my tiles as this guided meditation is going on. And they were Mahjong tiles. Now, if you're familiar with Mahjong, I've only played it, the video game version. They're tiles that have different pictures on them. And I don't know if it's Japanese, Chinese, the graphical characters, and you're matching the characters. And as the tiles can be laid out in different patterns and different formats. So some tiles are hidden, and then some tiles, they're partially exposed, but you can't access them until they're completely exposed. So I had this Mahjong game going on. I don't know how the pieces got stacked into the shape because I hadn't done it when I set them out, but this was what I'm seeing. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm not getting any words. There are no words on these tiles. The meditation came to an end. We, put our tiles away. We walk out the door. We go back up and down, up and down, up and down the hills. We walk across the field. We look at our feet. We put our shoes back on. We go home. At this time, the 4 women in the group, we were given the opportunity to share what we experienced and what we got for an answer. I'm sitting there thinking, I am not going to say that I got dominoes. I am not going to say a thing, and it's not required. The first woman shared her story. The second woman shared her story, and I'm thinking, I'm not saying a word. I didn't get anything. I got nothing. And I'm thinking back to the ways to connect and how to gain faith. This was kind of the promise for this class. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I got nothing. I'll just keep working on it. The third woman went and she shared her story. And I'm thinking, nope, not going to share my story, not going to say dominoes. So Barbara looked at me and she said, Donna, did you get anything? And I just sighed and I laughed and I said, I got dominoes. I don't understand. I said, I couldn't shut down my monkey brain. We had talked about this beforehand, how sometimes the logical brain gets in the way. And my friend Karen, who was sitting to my right, she said, sometimes you just have to feed the monkey brain a banana. So I said, I got nothing. I got dominoes. I said, I couldn't shut down the monkey brain. I said, Karen, obviously I didn't give it enough bananas because it was just chattering away in there. I said, I got dominoes. I said, but, dominoes are really kind of cool because you can stand them up, beside each other, and then you tap one and the whole line falls down, and they're really intricate designs you can make from it. When you're playing the game, you're kind of restoring order and you're putting pieces together that match, and you can create intricate designs on a tabletop. You can build, kind of like card houses out of dominoes. I remember doing that with my kids. And I said, so dominoes are kind of cool, but I was expecting to see like my word joy, which is my theme, my expression, my feeling that I am experiencing this year. And I said, and the thing that was weird was when I turned the tiles over, they became mahjong tiles. And then I explained to the group what mahjong was all about. And I said, so, sometimes you have to wait for something to be uncovered before you can actually use the pieces and remove them from the game. As I was sharing that with these women, the word yes flashed in my brain within the mahjong tiles as I was seeing them in my mind. And I said, oh my gosh, I see the word yes. And I said, what is it called? When you're doing a quilt or something, you've got all of these different designs and they form a picture. Karen said, a mosaic? Yes. So within these intricately carved mahjong tiles of Chinese or Japanese characters, I saw the word yes. The answer to my question, do I have a guide? Yes. And I got goosebumps as I was sharing this, as these pieces came together, because my monkey mind, my logical brain was trying to make rhyme or reason. And my guide was keeping, this is what I believe now, and this is kind of what the conversation turned to in this group. So my guide was letting my monkey mind stay busy until that point where it just kind of mind blown with seeing the word yes, not in a way I typically would have expected to see it, but seeing the word yes, which goes back to my Dear Universe podcast episode. Sometimes you are not going to be expecting the answer the way you expect it. The universe communicates with us in very simple terms. You may see your answer on someone's t-shirt and maybe part of a conversation you overhear between strangers. We just have to be mindful when we've put a question out there to look for the answer in a way that may not be what we were expecting. So that was step one of this woo-woo experience. Step two is we were doing another guided meditation, and this time we were going to what is called the healing pool. And we were crossing a bridge over water. We could determine how high it was so that we didn't feel nervous. We wanted to be comfortable. We're pushing our way through the jungle. We come to a pool of water that is our healing pool. We offer the word sacrifice comes to mind, but we offer a gift of gratitude to our healing pool, whether it's throwing in flowers, some leaves, a pebble, something to honor and recognize this healing pool, these waters that heal our bodies, our souls, our spirits. So we get that set up, then we go back through the jungle, we go across the bridge, we look at our feet again, put our shoes back on, go home. So then as we're preparing to go back to the healing pool to actually immerse ourselves in it, taking the shoes off, crossing the bridge, fighting our way through the jungle, we get to the healing pool, we step into it, we allow our bodies to sink. Because we're in our healing pool, we don't need to worry about breathing. We allow our bodies to sink, and then our spirits lift up from our bodies so that we can look down and see where in our bodies we need to heal. Now at this point, or just a little before, Barbara had told us, once you get settled, look to your right and see if you can see and describe your guide. So I'm thinking, as she's giving us that instruction, I'm thinking, okay, that's pretty crazy. But hey, I'm here, let's go with it. And we're looking for ways to connect and how to gain faith. So I'm game, I'm here, I'm going to give it a try. So I'm settled in this pool and I'm seeing the pain in my body, which is my right shoulder and my right hip area. And I could visualize that, but I think that was more monkey mind. I think that was logical because I experienced that pain. I don't think that was that was anything significant. It's an area I'm very well aware of. But I kind of looked over to my right and I caught the image of a man who was blonde, very aristocratic looking. He struck me as very arrogant when I first saw him. But as I was studying him more, the arrogant feeling faded away and it just became someone who just has that stature. And so he suddenly became more approachable, even though I didn't approach him, but I was just aware that he was there. So then we go back into our bodies, we step out of the pool, we go back through the jungle, we go back across the bridge and put our, look at our feet, put our shoes on, go on our merry way. So then again, the group is sharing. Now, before we started this, this was cool. Before we started, Barbara told us that 3 of us were meeting or were in the process of transitioning to new guides. So we apparently have some guides that have been with us for a long time, guides that will be with us for our lifetimes. Other guides come for short periods to help us through something, and then they move on. And we can always access them, but there just may not be a need. And if you think of that like people that are in your life, you have friends and associates that you may have worked with, you may have had for neighbors, you may have been in a community organization with. They were part of your life for a specific period of time. And even though you no longer have access to them, they're still part of your life, part of who you are. And if you needed to, you could probably find a way to connect with them. So that's the sense that I have for the guides that kind of back off. So 3 of us were going to be transitioning to new guides. And then one of us has a guide, but just was not aware of and paying attention to this guide. Now, it wasn't until a little bit later, I always figured that I would be the oddball one, that I would be the one who wasn't aware of and recognizing and using my guide. Those monkey voices, the inner critic of saying that I'm not doing it right, that was coming into play when I was thinking that. I'm still so new to this whole intuition and working with guides thing. So I figured, well, I wouldn't know my guide if he hit me on the head. So it was kind of those logical, illogical thoughts that were making me think that I was the person not aware of having a guide. But I don't know that that's valid, because I really don't know how much experience these other women have with working with guides. So it could just be that I was transitioning to a new guide. I don't know the answer to that. We tried to get Barbara to tell us, but she was pretty close-lipped about it. So she did tell us after we finished this guided meditation, she pointed to the woman straight across from me. She said, your guide is female, your guide is female. Karen's guide was female, mine was male. So I'm thinking, yes, I got it right, because I saw a blonde-headed man. So, okay, I got it right. And I'm always worried about getting it right. And Barbara keeps reassuring us that we really can't get it wrong. We have to learn to trust. If we're wrong on a name or on the gender, our guides don't care about that. It's not important to them. It's stuff that we latch on to that makes it easier for us to process and handle. This isn't what Barbara said, but I'm just getting the sense now that our guides are just energy. They are, wow. Our guides are just different levels of energy. They're different vibrations. This is something that Barbara did talk about, that we will feel within our bodies our guides when they're near. We will feel a specific sensation because they are at a certain energy level. And if you think of it along the lines of musical notes and stuff, how lower notes, the bass, you can feel it in your heart, you boom, 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 boom. And then higher notes, they kind of can make you go. Everything is a different vibration, different frequency. And so our guides are on these frequencies. And so when we match up, that's when we're going to communicate most effectively with them and be able to hear their messages. So thought I needed a drink of water. Now I don't. Lost my train of thought, not sure where I was going. Yeah, see, this is why I wanted to do this live, so I couldn't just cancel it and just let it go. So maybe I'll come back to it, maybe I won't. So we were sharing, so I got it right. I got it right that I knew that I had a man guide. We went through, we shared our stories again, told how I saw a blonde man, aristocratic features. Barbara said, yes, he's very intelligent. He's a good guide for you, looking out for your best interests, blah, blah, blah. Then she invited us. She said that over the next week, all of us were going to really have some strong realizations, strong interactions with these guides. And she said, ask your guide what his or her name is and ask how they're going to be working with you, how they're going to be helping you. So Monday morning, got home or woke up, took my shower. I was stepping out of the shower, and as you step out of the shower, most people were naked. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and all of a sudden I got this name, Lance. And I thought, Lance, is that my guide's name? And it just felt right. And of course, the first thing I thought was, Lance, I hope you're not looking right now. I'm naked. But of course, our guides can see us anytime. So he's seen me naked before, but that part has been a little disconcerting when I kind of think about it, because it's a little uncomfortable. It's like having a peeping Tom around. So yeah, that's just kind of silly beans, but it's where my chatter mind, as my friend Stephanie Swafford says, that's where my chatter mind goes. So now I had a name for my guide. His name is Lance. He's blonde. He's male. Oh, and Sunday night I had a dream with him in it. And he's young. He might be in his mid-20s, maybe early 30s, but he looked very young. I got more of a sense that he's casual. And that's kind of about what I picked up for, but I had a name. So every morning I pull an oracle card, and usually it's from my Nature's Whispers oracle card deck. Yesterday I sat down and I said, Lance, what's your message for me? What are we going to be working on together? Why are you here in my life at this time? Something general like that. So after meditating on the deck for just a couple of minutes, this is the card that I pulled. Potential Gateway. Now, the thing that struck me about this card is it looks like I'm looking down. My first thought was, this looks like a door. And I'm thinking of the meditation where we're standing on a hill, we're looking down, and we're seeing a door. Now this, is kind of like an island tree, but I still have that same sensation that this could be the door to my room. And then right here, oops, which way? There are little pools of water, the healing pools. So this was just an amazing card to pull. So the potential gateway, this is potential. Potential gateway. That shows me that the opportunity is there, but it's up to me to take advantage of it. It's up to me to step through to take advantage of that potential. Potential, I think, is also an energy term. Imagine that. So this is what the little guidebook says about it. It's card number 50. A new course or route is coming into your awareness. It is time to utilize your knowledge and complete the task at hand. As you finish one aspect of your life, begin thinking about what you would like to do next. This is part of your life's journey. You are constantly shifting and developing. You may feel contentment, fulfillment, and pride. because you have accomplished something. There is productivity and reward as a bonus for your efforts. The good fortune you realize is evidence that you are putting sufficient energy into your life's journey to get out of it all that you desire. So I loved that is so where I'm at, the new beginnings, finishing one aspect, moving on to something else. I do feel content. I do feel fulfillment and pride that I'm accomplishing things. I'm really excited about this new Walk With Me program I'm doing. I'm challenging myself in ways that 6 months ago I couldn't imagine doing. But I just see so many opportunities. So my friend Karen, I sent her a message and said, oh my gosh, I got a name. His name is Lance. I pulled a card. Well, I was telling her about the name, and she said she had pulled a card about her guide. And she said, oh, if you haven't done it already, you should give it a try. And I said, oh my gosh, I already did it. This is what I got. She tuned in on the number for the card, number 50, and she sent me a link to Joanne's Sacred Scribes angel numbers. And so this is from that. And after I finish this, I will put a link to her website to give her credit for this. Angel number 50. Number 50 is a combination of the vibrations and energies of number 5 and number 0. Number 5 resonates with healing, personal freedom, adventure, and curiosity, opportunity, and courage, making positive life choices and changes, adaptability and versatility, motivation, and progress. Oh my gosh, that just sounds so much like who I am. Number 0 resonates with the attributes of eternity and infinity, continuing cycles and flow, and the beginning point. Number 0 stands for potential. Number 0 stands for potential. Potential. And or choice, and represents the beginning of a spiritual journey and highlights the uncertainties that may entail, and suggests that you listen to your intuition and higher self, as this is where you will find your answers. Episode 78 of my podcast, Dear Universe, asking for answers, not paying attention when the universe answers until the universe finally just kind of thumps you up the side of the head. Number 0 reinforces, amplifies, and magnifies the number it appears with, in this case of 50, the number 5. So it amplifies the healing, the personal freedom, the adventure and curiosity, the opportunity and courage, the positive life choices and changes, adaptability and versatility, motivation and progress. The number 0 amplifies all of that. Oh my gosh, can you tell? This is just exciting woo-woo stuff. I mean, this is amazing. She continues, angel number 50 brings a message from your angels to do with your health, well-being, and lifestyle choices. Your angels want to help you to make positive, healthy lifestyle choices that will enhance and benefit you in many ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. That is what I talk about in my Walk With Me program. Walking is not just a physical source of energy that helps us with our medical conditions, lowering our blood pressure, improving our heart health, our lung health, and muscles and bones, and all of the great physical benefits that walking has for us. But walking is so powerful in helping us deal with the mental clutter, the mental chatter that we're facing. It helps us work through our emotions, and the spiritual connection you can regain and connect with when you're out walking. Because especially when you walk for longer periods of time, I find this when we're out hiking. The first 30 to 45 minutes, maybe an hour or so, my brain is replaying things that have happened over the week, things that have happened on my job, things that are happening in my whatever venture here as I'm building this walking program, doing more writing. The logical, oh, I really should have cleaned the bathroom instead of going for a hike. Oh, I have to remember to buy soap at the grocery store. When I first start hiking, my brain just goes on overload with all of that crap. But then I reach the point where I don't need words for that. I've replayed it over and over, and my mind is satisfied that, yeah, that stuff is good. And that's when I can really connect on that spiritual level. That's when, okay, I might get a little teary here. I can feel my throat kind of closing up. But that's when I reach that point where I start to really feel closer to nature. Mary wrote a comment about the grandfather tree. I wrote a poem over Memorial Day weekend when Earl and I were hiking. We were at a shelter along the Appalachian Trail, the Baldpate Shelter, and there was this tree standing there. And it was a dying tree. The bottom part of the tree really looked like it was dead, but there was still growth up at the top. If the cap of the tree had been blown off, and I wrote a poem. I felt a kindred spirit with this tree, and it became grandfather tree to me. And that's the point I get to when I'm hiking, when I'm walking for more than just a few miles, especially if I'm walking by myself, or if I'm walking with Earl, we can walk for 10 or 20 miles and I can get into the same space where just you experience more than just the words. You kind of lose your words because you've used them all up. And instead you just fall into this place of just being and looking around and experiencing what's there and listening to the birds and the wind in the trees. And it's powerful. And I do believe that you can reach that same place in a city. And I say that because I live in a very small city, but I can be out walking, and if I'm walking for more than 30 or 45 minutes, I can go into that same place. It's kind of like when you're driving your car and you're driving for long distances and you kind of zone out. You know that you're aware of your surroundings. You know that you're paying attention to what you're doing as you're driving, but your thoughts can kind of free flow. And it can be a very relaxing spiritual time if you allow yourself to open yourself to the possibility of it being a spiritual time. So, so that kind of, so back to angel numbers, the number 50. Be assured that your angels love and support you through these transitions, and allow your angels to guide and assist you. Angel number 50 also brings a message to live your life as it suits you personally, and do not allow your fears and other people's opinions deter or hinder you. We hear that all the time, and that is something I am working really hard to do, to move beyond the fear. Even starting to do this live broadcast today, knowing it was going to be long, knowing that people might jump on and they might jump off, and that's okay. This was an experiment for me because I really felt like I needed to do this live because I want the unedited version. And I will download this so that I have this for myself. But yeah, our fears, and we let what other people think hold us back. And it's so important to move beyond that. So important. Have the courage to make positive changes that are in line with your personal lifestyle choices, and ensure that you remain true to yourself always. Okay, now, at one point in my life, and this may be you, I would look at this type of printout, which I have some notes written on there as well. I would look at this and say, it's no different from a horoscope in the newspaper. It's so generic. And it is. And I won't disagree with that. However, when you ask the universe a question, look for answers. Be open to receiving the answers. As Barbara said in her course description, how to gain faith. Well, faith by nature is believing in something that there's really no proof that it exists. I think of my faith in Jesus Christ and in God. There's no proof that they exist, but I trust that they do. Hi, sweet kitty. There's no proof that they exist, but I take great joy. I take great satisfaction, pleasure, comfort in trusting that they exist. And I can take the same type of comfort in believing that at this point in my life, this is a message that I needed to receive. And I need to be open to receiving. And one thing that I just realized that I wrote in the comments here, so the number 0, the significance, excuse me, the significance of that, the number 0 resonates with the attributes of eternity and infinity, continuing cycles and flow in the beginning point. One of the Facebook groups that I started and stopped running earlier this year and actually have been thinking of bringing back to life again was called Start Today and Continue Tomorrow. Now, I started that group, so to make the connection, so that's talking about the continuing cycles in the flow. Start today, continue tomorrow. There are so many things that we'll start something and then we stop and we think that we're a failure. We've blown it again. Once again, we've proven we can't finish anything. No, there's always a starting point, and you can start over and over and over and over again. It's like the old adage, fall down 7 times, get up 8. And you just have to. You have to trust that it's meant to be, that you can do this. It doesn't matter how often you start. Start today, continue tomorrow. 3 weeks from now, you may start today, continue tomorrow, but have that hope and faith that you can make the progress that you want. So to wrap things up, I'm not even quite sure how to wrap this up. This was an amazing spiritual woo-woo experience for me. How my logical monkey brain tried to keep me distracted, but yet the answers came through in a way that feels, right here, it feels right, feels powerful, feels true. And when your gut, and just recently I did an episode about trusting your gut, a podcast episode about it. Might have been 75 or 76, maybe 77. I don't know. They all kind of blur together. But yeah, it's just amazing. So this was my woo-woo experience. I have a new guide. His name is Lance. Say hi, Lance. Hi, Lance. Young man, blonde. I don't know what color his eyes are, but maybe I'll get a closer look. I'm really excited and nervous and uncomfortable. And it brings me back to Barbara saying one of us has had a guide that we've just kind of not been ready to accept yet. And that's a possibility, but I am open to what Lance has to share with me. It's the first time that I've gotten a name. And I think that part of that is because in the Dear Universe podcast episode, I was talking about how sometimes we ask the universe a question, but we really don't want the answer. We don't really know that we're going to believe the answer, or we want a specific answer. And if the universe disagrees with us, we just don't even want to hear it. La, 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 la. So I don't know which category Lance falls into, if he's a new guide or one that I just have been avoiding for a little while. But I am trying, and that's probably the wrong word, because trying is that logical, concerted effort instead of just being open to whatever he may have to share for me. Thank you for staying with me. Hey, Ruth, it's good to have you here. So that's all I've got. So thank you for being with me as I rattled off this recounting. Did go long, 40 minutes. Sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed my journey if you stuck with it. Have an amazing day and go take your own spiritual journey and see what you find. It's pretty amazing. It's a little intimidating, a little overwhelming maybe, but it's amazing. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.